Alright guys, into the next one as the games continue here. As we got in the top left-hand side, up 3-1. It's going to be MaxPax. Looking real good at the moment here as we get this underway. And in the bottom right, our blue Terran is ByuN, guys. I'll be momentarily. I think my dog's got her ball stuck under the shelf. You're not meant to have that baby. Well, I was calling the dog baby. I'm not. There's not a baby that someone's not meant to have. We're not. We're not that deep in trouble over here. At least I don't think we are. I hope. That'd be awkward. Hey, what's up? I has Burrito. Thank you so much for the 5-month resub. Welcome back. If I felt he had stolen a baby, well, we'd have to do some talking to her about that one, wouldn't we? Yeah, Twitch chat. You guys are funny. You always think the silliest things. In a good way, though. Well, it's not always in a good way, but this time we'll claim it's in a good way. SCV just comes over here, has been a proxy and starts up with a Reaper, so I'm gonna get a Reaper going on the barracks on the right hand side, so gets that started initially. Good little storm point to kick things off. And fun. I mean, I do like this series so far for the fact that these two have been continuing to do very different things, just game by game so far, you know. It's actually turned into a good series. Maybe I should do a little, hey guys, if you're watching on YouTube, like it and subscribe and all the usual stuff, because this one might make it there. I mean, 4 games deep right now, and it's been a good best of 9. And obviously still potentially a lot of games to go. It's not even halfway through, possibly, depending on what the final score turns out to be. Reaper is going for the probes and is trying to get some kills. Good start, 3 workers initially. Even with the Zealot out to try and chase that Reaper around, it's just not really having that effect you'd usually expect it to have, so you know, that's not quite working out as you would have liked it to. I mean, that's way more damage than you wanted to be taking. That's a little bit awkward, as we do just have our CC back at home. And, well, yeah, just great stuff from ByuN. I mean, you can't really say it better than that. It's just the setup you're looking for. It's nicely done, nicely handled. It gets pushed away, and just going to be seeing our Adept moving onto the map as well. Trial Council Robo Facility coming up. ByuN is indeed expanding, so that expansion is still coming online. Put mine on the high ground, looking to catch the Adept if it ends up running up there. Just going to be seeing the Reaper trying to jump up to the side. The Adept is going to push that Reaper back. Oh, did the Adept see the Widow Mine? I feel like he didn't notice it until a moment too late, but it actually wasn't too late. He just got out of there anyway. That was a good reposition from ByuN. It gave him the option to maybe get some damage done, to maybe get the kill with the mine. So, I mean, credit to him for that, because that's not a guarantee, right? Like, that's not something which is just a given or anything. Yeah, that was a nice little move. Some good stuff there to get started with as we continue through then and wait for our next little point of action. Widow Mine's going to drop in, and that's not going to be a pretty pull away from MaxPax. He loses 7 probes pretty much immediately here, and Dark Shrine coming online. I feel like ByuN is very much so in the know of what's going on as Reaper scouts up through the main base. He's even going to see the Dark Shrine, so if he didn't know, now he absolutely does know, and that means that ByuN's preparations here can just set up. I mean, I think he's just moved the starport to the tech lab so you can start a Raven. That means you will have aggressive opportunity across the map. One of the biggest issues you can have sometimes when you're playing against those DTs is just not having a way to move across the map, because without a Raven, if you didn't open with a Raven blindly, you just always have to have so many scans. It's almost unreasonable how many scans you need to make that kind of work out for yourself. So nice to see that ByuN has an answer for it as the two DTs come in. I mean, we've already had more probes going down, and I mean, MaxPax is in a horrible worker position, by the way. 26 to 34. It doesn't really get worse than that a lot of the time in this matchup, honestly. That's not where you want to be in the slightest, so not the greatest spot to be in, and it looks like MaxPax really is going to be in some trouble this game, as we are just going to be seeing the rack swapping over the tech lab, the star bot moving off to the side. That's going to be GG's, and that is going to be our game, our series, getting a little bit closer once again. This time, ByuN taking another map. In the bottom left-hand side. Now only down by one map. Let's see if you can tie the series up. It is going to be ByuN. The top right, our red Protoss play from Storm Gaming is going to be MaxPax. Well, like I say, the main thing about these games so far is we've seen a few different things from everyone as well. It's very much so just, it's not just being the same old thing repeatedly, right? We have seen some good mix-ups, we've seen some different approaches. And I would say in that regard, it's been a lot of fun. Obviously, ByuN opened those Marauders early game a lot, but in those games, MaxPax was switching up a lot. Now, ByuN's switching up a bunch now that his Marauders caught a proxy gateway, and I really feel like that's what he was looking for with that opening especially. I feel like he was really just looking for that one time MaxPax proxied the gateway, and once he did it, he was basically there and ready to take full advantage. It was pretty sick, of course, so... Well, we'll continue up, just going to see another cyber call coming through. Just getting that down as we have got our probe. Now the frontier is going to drop down a pylon as well, so just going to get that into play, and we will have our reactor, our CC, all of this just continuing through as well. So a lot of this being set up at the moment into what seems to be a fairly normal set of circumstances for this game. Number 6. Little Corona boost going down. Twilight Counselor opening. 3 racks from ByuN. Again, just seeing some differences every game. I don't think we've seen ByuN play 3 racks. We've seen him play some aggressive bio counts, but I feel like a lot of it's been off of 2 early racks, like a racks factory racks instead of 3 racks. So there has been a little bit of difference across the board there, I would say. The barracks is going to be finishing up as the extra couple Marines come through. And just going to get that bunker down the front for safety as well. When you're playing 3 racks, you don't have a lot of the sturdiness of a factory unit, so you do need that bunker just in case, certain units come across the map at you early. You just need to be on top of that and ready to respond. And so that's what ByuN sets up to do. Puts himself in a strong position for that. Blink about halfway done. Extra gates, probes, and all the rest of it still continuing up, and just seeing our stem and combat shields both coming into play at the moment here. Getting those bio units continuing into action. Obviously, once those upgrades are done, that's our next point of really seeing some kind of real interest and aggression on this map. And Prism on the way up, Blink about to complete. And that's more or less just where this game is headed to at the moment. Just nothing really coming in on the side of MaxPax. This really is kind of ByuN who's going to be the aggressor with the 3 barracks of units here. So we are just waiting out for that to come into play. And obviously we're getting close, and so ByuN will start to move on the map. And this is where it should get very exciting once again. So a little bit of excitement about to happen. Let's see what goes down. Bioforce coming across. Let's see what the defense looks like from MaxPax. A lot of Stalkers, and he's using that high ground as well. He's playing this off of 4 gateways, so this means he's got plenty of Stalkers. Should never really be an issue for him. ByuN is going to try and keep moving forward. With everything blinking back like it did there, I almost wondered if he could have just pulled back, if he had like enough of a jump to just start heading home. And just to try and keep these units alive, because he saw how many Stalkers there were, but he decides to just dive in for the natural anyway, and to be fair, he's making work of it. A few probes will go down. He does get a few Stalkers as well, 5 of them dropping. With 3 probes, I really don't hate it, to be fair. I think that was very reasonable, all things considered. Don't mind that at all. That's going to be seeing the army now from MaxPax going across those. So obviously ByuN lost a lot of his units there initially. The good news is because it's 3 racks, it's units that rebuild quickly on the back of 3 racks. So they will be on their way back up already, and I don't think there's going to be a major issue here where it's like, oh, he just doesn't have the units anymore. He should be somewhat alright. Initially at the very least. Lions coming through, the few SCVs coming across. Stalkers at the front, she's going to start fighting. BioArmy coming through and pushing those Stalkers back a little bit as well. So a little bit of back and forth coming along. Temple Archives coming up. Charge is on the way along. +1 attack is about to complete. So we've seen a Marauder there get shot down. It's going to go floating out over to that far right-hand side. So away it goes. BioArmy still just going backwards and forwards a little bit here. These few Zealots and Stalkers coming back in. Just going to be seeing the SCVs pulling. I mean, ByuN has to just keep on pulling these SCVs. Just the way this game opened with losing the units, I did think he might have enough, but the moment that bunker goes down, the defenses at the front are just that much weaker all of a sudden. You just got to really respect what your opponent is doing again, and then obviously end up in a bit of a weirder spot from there, so... Fireforce looking to keep these Stalkers back. Charge is halfway done right now, so with Charge halfway done, we're going to see extra gateways still coming through as well. A Storm is going to start up now also. And that started. So let's see, a few Stalkers are already here to stop these medevacs from doing anything, and a few units going down, so you're really not finding much on the map with 1 medevac fallen, and yeah, I mean, resources lost actually heavily in MaxPax's favor. ByuN is definitely the one that needs to try and turn this around a little bit. So come in, Marine taking some damage, being chased away slightly as we just have our watchtowers controlled at the moment by MaxPax, which is obviously pretty nice as well. With that kind of control of the map, he just gets to see a good amount of what's coming his way. He knows he's very safe, and I wouldn't be surprised if MaxPax took the opportunity to step up into a 4th base fairly soon. I don't think he's got really much to worry about or much to hold off for. So yeah, I think he could probably make that move soon if he wanted to. See if that's an option he chooses to utilize. I'm still set over here, just gonna see an extra few zealots warping in. So I'm still set up on this high ground and just waiting for the attack. I mean, it is looking as though MaxPax is going to attack into this. Now, it's 1-1 upgrades from ByuN, and the defense, by the way, the tanks on the high ground. Storm's going to be scary. He dodges the first couple storms pretty well, and he's actually kiting to the top where the zealots are dying, so his units will not be running into other units. The flank is not going to be overly crazy for MaxPax or anything here, as the tanks on the high ground are really putting in work. They've just been around for such a long time at this point, and they are continuing to get a lot done. Wow, those tanks have been absolute heroes. I mean, look at them, guys. Finally, we're going to drop some zealots on top of them, but 8 kills on one of these guys. I actually think we're going to save them as well, as they're still shooting away at the Archon. Now, ByuN loses 17 SCVs, but he kills off a lot of army in doing so, and I wouldn't be surprised if ByuN could maybe get across the map to make something happen. It's not a guarantee at all, but feels like, I mean, it feels like something of a possibility, perhaps. That's going to be seeing the Archons, the Stalkers, the Zealots continuing to set up. Fire Force just still coming through and heading around the left-hand side there, so it's going to take a little bit of positioning and just going to have both players really reset from that previous fight. I mean, looks like at the end of it, yeah, MaxPax holds a worker lead. ByuN still has the upgrade lead. That's going to start falling away. He's putting a lot of his money lately into Ghost, etc. So as you put that money into Ghost, it's a little bit of a different approach. And obviously goes just very differently in general. So not going to continue into 2-2. I think that is worth noting. I think that is fairly appropriate to mention, because it does mean that MaxPax is finally going to catch up on upgrades, and that was one thing that was really lacking for him initially here, so definitely makes a fair difference. Wants to attack is on the way again, and just going to be seeing a few ByuN stimming forward here. Going to nearly grab a Stalker that came towards the Watchtower. And that does get pushed back, and the Stalkers and Archons will join back up themselves up on that top side. So back up to the top they head. Stalker's still setting up. The Bio Army still coming through. Going to grab a probe over here. So that probe goes down pretty much immediately, and now these other Stalkers are going to be in maybe some trouble. Bioforce coming through, forcing those Stalkers to blink back pretty much straight away. We'll have to back out of there. And the Stalker army continues to just run around the sides. We do have the extra Ghost coming out the front, and I mean, ByuN is just going to keep on threatening drops and threatening this aggression here and there on the map, right? He's just trying to be in multiple places, trying to be active. Trying to find damage throughout, and honestly, I like it for ByuN. I feel like he's doing a good job of it for the most part. You know, MaxPax has not been comfortable to fully push across since that previous larger fight, so I would say for ByuN, it's more or less working at the moment. The CC moves all the way down to the south side, is going to get into position there, and obviously land down and start mining away on the 6 o'clock, so just going to begin with that as the Vikings and the Ghosts continue up. Dark Shrine continuing in as well. MaxPax, I mean, he's more or less, I mean, he is maxed out, right? He doesn't really need much more to kind of go with this army. He is adding on a Dark Shrine, but at some point he's going to have to trade out something to make room for DTs to harass with anyway. So it is kind of getting to that point. I'm alluding to the fact that we should start to see something of a fight here. These two should start to get a little bit involved with each other as Zealots and Stalkers jump on this orbital command, so that's going to be the starting point. Jumping on that, Bioforces jump up into the base at the same time, so in they go. I mean, big fight is obviously the Colossus on the left side getting ripped apart. There's only one of them remaining as the last Viking goes down. The counter drop is going to be massive because he's actually going to get the Dark Shrine, so he takes that out of the equation, while also doing just a lot to kind of shut down the economy of his opponent and production. He's going to remove a lot of the gateways here, so getting rid of that gateway count is going to be massive. The missile turret nearly kills the Colossus. We continue forward as MaxPax trying to break through and trying to make something happen. Well, the ByuN are sitting in a choke point against the Zealots. Now the SCV counter is dropping rapidly. And once again, between ByuN and MaxPax, we are starting to see a bit of a ridiculous situation as we have seen at this point multiple times today. I mean, these two just can't keep away from weirder, crazier games against each other, it would seem. 29 dead SCVs. MaxPax takes a 22 worker lead. Down MaxPax in army, though, and that's going to be substantial. Especially if ByuN can get the 2-2 upgrades finished. If ByuN finishes up the 2-2 upgrades, that would be a pretty big deal, right? Because then he's going to have a big upgrade lead in what will just be a low unit count game. And that obviously is... that's very substantial. That means a lot. And that makes a big, big difference. So definitely something for us to watch out for here as we see our Bioforce coming around. And just going to be with a couple of Vikings and Ghost leading the charge. Trying to figure out where he wants to find. MaxPax has got 2 Colossi, 3 Archons, and a High Temple. He's about to have a 3rd Colossus. I like the splash. You know, the units that MaxPax has are definitely the units you kind of want in these situations. Will it be enough to overcome the 2-2 of the Terran player? That's what I'm scared about. Again, in these lower kind of unit fights, an upgrade difference really can make a huge, huge difference. So waiting to see. I think ByuN is right not to attack in. I think that's positions that he's seen so far just a little bit too difficult to attack into against that much splash. So he's just going to set up defensively himself. However, MaxPax is taking advantage of this. He's just going straight. I mean, he's got a 5th base already, so his economy is looking good. 72 workers, and kind of feels like maybe ByuN is the one that needs to make something happen. But the way that maybe ByuN will make this happen is he's just going to be a little bit more patient. And being a little bit more patient, what he's going to be able to achieve is he's just going to get a few more of those tech units out. He's going to move his main base orbital over to this left-hand side 9 o'clock, so he'll have an extra base to mine from. But if he gets more of the tech units out, he's going to make this fight very good for himself. Even if he's behind on economy, maybe he can take a good enough a trade that the economies don't matter here. I would imagine we'll find out soon what the plans are. I mean, MaxPax is almost... I mean, we're pretty much back at a maxed out game. This got crazy, it got a bit wild, but we're going to end back up kind of both players, full armies, and pretty much ready to go with a little bit of everything. So from where we were to just resetting back to where we were again. I mean, +3 attack halfway done. The Dark Shrine finishing massive storm, and that's going to be one of the scary things. The storms in that prism are always going to hurt a little bit, so yep, that's a nice nice catch right there to start us off. Because I'm still through the south side, as we do have the Bio army pulling back a little bit. The depot took a hit there for a moment or two as well, so that was also a little bit awkward. Marines pressing through, and a couple of Stalkers coming in as well. They're going to put some pressure on. The Bio army going to start fighting with these Stalkers, and they take a lot of damage right away. Scan down to the low ground. Stalker, Zealot, Colossus, and Archon all going to be spotted there. This is really going to come down to just a big maxed out fight in the end between the two of them. It was kind of exciting, to be fair. I mean, sign me up. I'm down. Couple long games in this series. You know, when I think about MaxPax and ByuN playing, not that I think they're both going to like cheese it or go crazy every game, but I do think that you typically end up with more kind of like shorter games. Like, I feel like they both kind of play very aggressive, and that can often lead to kind of, you know, one player just taking a lead early and then running away with it. The other guy not being prepared, he's trying to be aggressive himself. But these have really been back and forth, drawn out games. Oh, big fight happening. MaxPax pulls the trigger. I don't like it because the EMPs were great. The Archons melted. The only good news is that the Colossus, even though they took a beating at first, were kept alive. And the Vikings can't quite finish up on those. The Disruptor at the front there is looking as though it's going to go down. So that will fall. Storm's going down all over the place. I mean, this is going to be 2-2 upgrades against +3, and that means that the armor is just not there, and the Zealots will just melt. Now, the Zealots going down that quickly. Now you've got to wonder, is there any way to defend the rest of this as MaxPax's army just disappeared? I mean, the army supply graph here will be disgusting. Look at that drop-off. His army just was not competitive in this fight. I think a lot of that was just extremely good EMPs. And I really mean, like, extremely good EMPs to start out with there, as a couple of EMPs went off. Disruptor shot still firing, doesn't quite come through. Going to see an extra round of Zealots warping in over on that left-hand side. Just going to see the Nexus dropping down here, so that will go down as well. Going to try and bring that back online, in fact. Take the Nexus on the far right once again, and just going to be setting up for it as... I'm just going to cancel it straight away. ByuN not going to let that happen. I mean, he's got the army lead here, and he's not, going to be content giving it up. See a lot of DTs warping in. If they can make the difference, then credit to them, but I'm a little bit skeptical that they're going to be able to kind of make a game-changing move or anything. Just because ByuN has so much momentum right now. I mean, maybe if the DTs jump on this army, there's no scan available or so. Maybe if they just got across the map, there'd be a bit of possibility. Just going to drop in the main. That's where the DTs are, so we're just going to scan, and the EMP gets rid of the DTs so quickly. I mean, they're not really made for a straight-up fight where they're not overwhelming, and they are absolutely not overwhelming there in the slightest. That's a very underwhelming set of DTs, in fact, so... Not so pretty. MaxPax going to type GG's, and ByuN going to win on 2,000 atmospheres. And we'll take this to a 3-3 scoreline in the best of 9. Alright, 3-3 all tied up. Going to map 7. So what this means is that we're guaranteed a map 8, and that means some maps will be repeated, guys. I believe the way that these show matches work is that they do just play the same map a second time. Should that situation arise, should we go to games 8 and 9, and obviously here we're guaranteed to at least see a game number 8. As we're in game number 7 now, with it all being tied up. Bottom left-hand side of Blackburn is MaxPax, while the upper right-hand side... the bottom right-hand side, of course, is ByuN. All bottom of the map spawns on Blackburn. Let's see what the two of them have in store for us here, as, again, the games have been just consistently great. Non-stop, a lot of fun action. Barrack setting up. Just going to be seeing the SCV moving out. Coming in, SCV taking some damage. SCV's turning around to fight back a little bit. And now the game just results in running around for a little while. Well, gives me a chance to say what's up, Twitch chat. How are we all feeling? How are we all doing? Hopefully you're all doing good. Welcome to the stream today, obviously. A little bit of a surprise stream, but hope you guys are enjoying the games and having some fun with us in some TvP. Feeling good, Wardy? Amazing. That's what we like to hear, guys. Feeling good, doing good, all that goodness? Yes. Hell yes. Brilliant, I say. Brilliant. Alright, well, Stargate coming up from MaxPax, as we do just have a couple of barracks still on the way through, so just getting those set up. Getting that into play. And yeah, just gonna see, a couple of racks coming through, the Marines coming up as well. All of this getting going at the moment as we settle down into this map 7. Feeling good looking at Pig's picture. A lot of memes about the IEM caster announcement I've seen. You guys like the pig one? I thought everyone looked good, man. I thought I looked a little bit angry. I was like, ugh, you're making me cast Katowice. Angry face. Just trying to be scary, you know. Hey, what's up, Dustin T. Bravo? Thank you so much for the 11-month resub. Appreciate it, mate. It's not a surprise Wardy doing great things for SC2. Appreciate it, buddy. And guys, I will do a little sponsored segment at the end of the stream today. If you've enjoyed the little cast and a little bit of a surprise Sunday afternoon stream of StarCraft, I appreciate you guys if you stuck around during the sponsored stream, or if you left your stream up for a little while, even if you just head off, and even if you... We're going to stream for an hour, and basically the way the sponsorship works is the more average viewership we get, the better we do. So if you guys leave the stream on, even for just the first 10 minutes, and then you head off, it helps out a whole bunch. So do consider doing that. Easy, cheap, free way to support. Turn on another tab. You guys do whatever, but don't feel like you have to stick around. But if you can, greatly appreciate it. So we just get going. Sup, Solo? What's up, mate? Thank you so much for the 11-month resub. Is there a translation for Armani anywhere? Well, why he couldn't attend? I just Google translated his tweet. Is that what you're talking about? Why he couldn't attend Katowice? There's a few Marines coming through the middle of the map here. Yeah, Armani's basically what I got from the Google translate. It translated pretty well into basically just saying that he's very aware of like of COVID right now and the variants that are strong in Europe, and that he had a brother who traveled and got sick from COVID because of it. Got sick from COVID recently, and so his mom basically asked him not to travel and to stay at home. So he gave up his spot and decided not to attend Katowice. I believe is what I read from it. Again, that was Google Translate, so it might not be fully accurate. What is fully accurate is this Bioforce going wild on the units of MaxPax. My goodness, the Immortal going down, the Phoenix. Oh, I mean, that one just about survives, but I mean, they've not exactly been having the greatest of times over here, have they? Absolutely not. Taking a ton of damage, in fact, and I think that hurts a little bit. Okay, well, that definitely hurts a little bit, as we're just going to be seeing our other bio units coming through, and just going to be having our Robo Bay on the way up as well, so just getting that up and running here. Factory's going to swap off over to a tech lab. And out on the left-hand side, stopping this third base from coming back online. MaxPax just not able to get to the third base easily, and that's always troubling when ByuN's able to get that much pressure going for himself early. Putting himself in a good little spot here as the Phoenix get turned around, so they're not going to be able to do too much. So they get chased away pretty much right away there as well. I'm just going to be seeing the +1 attack upgrade. Also just continuing through, that's going to mean the next attack of ByuN is going to be even more powerful. He has so much army supply at the moment. He has so much going for himself. Let's see what he can do to perhaps close out. Going to drop into the main base, just working his way around the defenses most importantly, right? This is great GG's. I mean, it's just not even a competition at that point. It's just too far gone. That is going to be our game. So ByuN is going to take a lead for the first time in the series, and it will be his match point opportunity. All right then. Like I say, the first time MaxPax is behind in the series here, as he is the Red tier Protoss player in the top left-hand corner. Like I say, playing from behind for the first time. We'll see what he does. He had a good lead in the series too. 2-0, 3-1. Yeah, ByuN's been on a roll the last few games, and it's not, I mean, it's been close games. Obviously, back to Berlingrad. We started on Berlingrad. That map one in which MaxPax really took honestly, it took a decent setup early. Just went for the blink into the charge. Was able to stay very active on the map and just able to do a lot on the counterattacks, and ByuN's army just wasn't able to get enough done in response. Let's probe all the way around the left there. Let's get this going. What's up, Legend? Not much, mate. Just getting ready. Well, casting some games, obviously, but just getting ready to fly tomorrow, you know? Can't wait for my direct flight. Guys, listen to this. I don't want to brag, but the last time I flew direct to a StarCraft tournament was like I want to say it was like a 2018, 2017 WESG in like Barcelona, and I didn't even fly direct on the way there. I flew direct on the way home. And this time, I think this might be my first event where I've just got direct flights both ways. I'm so excited, guys. Can't wait for my flight to be delayed, cancelled. It's going to go to 3 different countries before Poland. Something's going to go wrong knowing my typical travel days, but I think the last time, I don't think it was the last time I went to Poland, because I went to Katowice, but one of the times I went to Poland, I had a nightmare travel day where I got to Amsterdam, and then my next flight was cancelled just before we got on it because of a snowstorm, and then in the end it took me 19 hours to get to Poland, which is a lot longer than it should take. Roddy found it funny. Roddy messaged me, he's like, "Hey, where are you? I'm at the airport." I'm like, "Yeah, well, they actually sent me to Germany." He's like, "What? Why didn't they just put you on my flight?" I'm like, "It was full, mate. They sent me to Germany to go on a different flight." It was a whole thing. Hey, what's up, Apple G72? Thank you so much for the 14-month resub. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you so very much, of course. Thank you very much. Adept continuing to move around a little bit there, and just going to head down to the south side. Just going to try and put some pressure in. Funnily enough, we're back to these Marauders, and we're going to get a recall on the Adept as they get the catch initially. So, does get that initial catch, and we'll work from there. That's going to be seen orbital coming through, a couple extra racks being added in as well. So all of that coming up right now. And these two Marauders actually going to take themselves across the map at the moment. So away they go to the other side, trying to get set up and trying to make something happen themselves at the moment. So away they go, having some fun. And this is going to be seeing our gateway and our robot facility set up at the front. Blink is on its way in, so that's going to be done fairly soon as well. Getting that blink completed, again, stim pack, and a couple extra reactors all coming through also. All of that's still building up here. Yeah, ByuN really liking the 3-racks last go, and I mean, he's been playing kind of bio heavy all day, but definitely has had some of the easier wins off the back of the 3-racks, right? Just getting in there early, getting some damage done, and able to put himself in positions which MaxPax isn't dealing with as well. Another SCV will go down. And these Marines and Marauders will kill the Adept now, so at least you get a little bit of revenge on the back end of that at least, so that's something. It's always nice. And the Feast Stalkers continue now down to the south. Blink is about to finish up. Stimpack is coming through. Factory's halfway down. A couple of SCVs are still building. And a Marauder just going to be finishing up in a moment as well. It's just getting that completed, and +1 attack upgrade is starting now from ByuN, so bringing that up into play. Really just waiting for this push now. MaxPax has got charge coming up, and he's got his third coming down. And he's been playing pretty heavy, just kind of, Blink Stalkers charge lots all day today. He's been pretty... He's mixed in some Phoenix and Colossus stuff as well, but this is a best of 9. Obviously, you're going to see a few different styles, but this is definitely one he's lent on heavily, right? Just the heavy kind of unit count. And this time, not skipping the robo or anything. We have seen that variation today as well so far, so that's been something a little bit different that we've seen. Battery comes down the left-hand side. Just going to see the reactor built on the factory. It's going to cancel. He's going to change his mind on the reactor. What for? Just because he wanted to start the medevacs and needed the gas, I think? I would be surprised if he builds a tech lab all of a sudden. I think he's going to set up still into Widow Mines. Just changes his mind about exactly when he wants to go into that. And then we'll just do it a little bit differently to maybe his initial intentions. So he's going to be forced back. They're not going to be able to get too much done. So they're going to be kept at bay. And just going to be seeing the Bioforce still pressing forward here as well as the Sentries and the Immortal hang out on the left-hand side. Would also love to get involved a little more if they can. The Bioforce goes across to the other side. So to the upper left we go. The Stalker's going to get forced back pretty much immediately there. So they have to blink away without a second thought. And this Bio army still just coming over. Stalkers, Immortal, Zealots, and Sentries continue to come through. I see some good force fields going down, and that's going to be ByuN probably having to second guess himself here a little bit now because, well, he has to obviously lift up out of that bit of trouble, which he will do so decently. That wasn't kind of the problem. But yeah, going to put him into a little bit of a maybe a little bit of a tougher spot than expected. The Bioforce coming back forward again. That Immortal's obviously being kept very safe, and that's going to be a big part of MaxPax's defense here. Just keeping that Immortal safe and keeping that online allows him to do reasonably well here just across the board. So playing around that idea is just going to be seeing the Stalkers doing what they can before blinking away. And with that, one Immortal is about to get some help from its buddy. So a second Immortal popping out, and again, just buffers up. It just kind of buffs up this army a whole bunch, right? It creates a lot more buffer. And a couple of strong shots every now and then really go a long way, especially if those Marauders start getting into the front lines. Then these Immortals are really going to show their worth. So a lot of potential value on those guys. We do see the Zealots continuing through, looking to obviously charge this army down. And this time MaxPax will chase quite far. Able to push ByuN back and staying pretty stable, all said and done, on the back end of this now. Fire turns around, a few Stalkers taking some hits. So just unloading and just going to go after those SCVs. So a few SCVs taking some damage, and, well, I mean, nice to get a counterattack in. ByuN will deal with this first one pretty well, but there is a warp into the main as well. Now, Widow Mine's already on their way across to try and help with that. Let's see how effective they can end up being. There's a few SCVs on that natural expansion, continuing to work some wonders as well wherever possible, doing whatever they can at the moment. Medevacs by units all setting up. A couple of Zealots run forward. The SCVs absolutely in a little bit of trouble at least, and just going to be going down. A few SCVs actually having to pull in to help against this single Zealot right there. So single Zealot is able to pick up another kill or two, and ByuN's economy being kept about 10 workers behind, and that's also MaxPax stopping ByuN from being able to come across the map and focus on a push. The more he keeps, ByuN in his base, the better it is, because the more time he gets to tech up. And that tech is fairly late. He's played Zealot, Stalker, Immortal for a long time here. And while I kind of liked the defense initially, I didn't realize he was getting so stuck on this composition and not introducing the splash damage at all. That Robo Bay is extremely late from what you would have wanted it to be. That's actually really painful, and that's going to mean that these pushes right now are going to be tough to deal with. 1-1 versus 0-0 until that +1 attack upgrade is done as well, so ByuN holds the upgrade advantage. You've seen that before in this series as well, where ByuN has just been able to take that upgrade advantage and really just roll with it, and that alone has been able to carry him to some very successful moments in this game. So definitely some opportunities here as we see how Bioforce coming up. I mean, this high ground is massive. Not stopping him from getting up the ramp initially is absolutely huge. The difference that makes is unbelievable as you do see the Bioforce coming back around. Wouldn't mind going off on a Stalker or so, and the Immortals coming through as well. Eight probes going down. It just feels as though now ByuN's getting a little bit out of control, and RoboBay is up, but what is it doing? Absolutely nothing at the moment. Well, on the left-hand side, this space is likely to drop down dead, and it's another issue to add to the list of things at the moment that isn't going right for MaxPax, as the army kept back once again. A few extra ghosts on the way up, and the 2-2 upgrade still coming into play as well. What do you think, guys? We've got ourselves a victory on the board for ByuN. Now, I've said things in this series already which didn't turn out to be true. I really thought ByuN was winning some other games, and MaxPax brought himself back in, but this has got to be one of the worst positions because he doesn't really have a lot of comeback potential with the current units. Like, it's not like he's got DTs on the map already. You know, he does not have a Warp Prism, and he's got to build Colossus to be able to have splash damage, so he won't have any Colossus counterattacks. These are the kind of things which really mean that he's just going to struggle a lot more to get back in the game. And that's where I think the issue arises. It'd be very different if he still had a whole bunch of... yeah, I mean, it could be very different, right? But the way it currently looks, it's just not looking good at all, guys. He doesn't have anything that he needs to turn this around, so he really needs ByuN. Well, he does have his Blink Stalkers and good map vision around his base, so if ByuN gets a little bit too drop heavy and tries to force these drops a little bit too much, maybe that's where MaxPax went out. Just defend up to 4 bases, hope ByuN overcommits in, maybe you snipe a couple medevacs out of the sky full of units. Those sort of plays are the plays that could still possibly come to fruition here. And here we go, going to dive the main base, but that's not enough Stalkers, and the ones that are there will then end up dying. Well, Stalkers just going to derp their way into the main base as well, so that's not going to end up in a pretty manner at all. That's not going to be great. Yeah, this is going to be way too much. These Immortals continue to go down. Everything going to get chased here. And the Bioforce continuing through, and that really is going to basically summarize this game and this series. ByuN is going to just have a little too much, and honestly, MaxPax made some pretty good defenses for the most part across the board. Just there are times it didn't turn out in his favor, and this one really was, I think, the most one-sided situation ByuN found himself in, outside of like the very quick win he had on Blackburn and stuff, right? So, GG's. Well, this came late. Wonder why?